enthusiasts, music lovers. So our Addicted to Gear YouTube show is on. It's Sunday is the day where we get together live and discuss gear in general. And I'm always happy and looking forward to Sunday mornings with you guys. So thank you for joining us. And for those of you that are new, it doesn't matter. You can be a seasoned professional, just starting off, dipping your toe in the pool of music, guitars, and gear, just beginning your musical journey. It doesn't really matter. We're basically a community here, and we're thrilled to have everybody here. And we're going to dive into everything gear related today, as per usual. And we're going to talk about all the good stuff. So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me and making my Sunday extra special. So my name is Tony, and I'm the host here, as you well know. A lot of you out there are regulars and pop in on a regular basis. A lot of familiar faces, but from time to time we do see some new names, and I welcome you all. If you are new to the channel, I have to say this because some people are not aware. Please subscribe, because you have to subscribe to be able to chat. Otherwise, you'll be able to read all the chats, listen to me, but you won't be able to participate. And what fun is that? And don't forget, while you're there, just tune in on a regular basis to the channel, because we have a lot of great gear reviews. It's not just about the live shows, it's also about the gear reviews that I post on a regular basis. So good morning to everybody. Stephen is here. Good morning, Stephen. How are you doing today? I don't know if Stephen was the first one into the group this morning waiting for the show to go live, but welcome. Marcel is here as well. And Marcel is talking about having a nice SG Classic with P90s. I think there was a little bit of a pre-show chit-chat before we went live. So glad to see you guys are having those conversations. Steven says, did everyone do their guitarist stretches this morning? If not, go to DZGL number 1. I don't know what DZGL stands for, but I'll look that up later on. So let's see here. Wayne is here. He's all in. Coffee and weed. And bacon and eggs too. That's a nice combination. Ken is here. So Wayne, Steven, let's see here. Let me just scroll down. Presley, how's everything going in California? Presley, hope everything's going well for you, man. Steven said he has a Gibson 2550 with Series 7, I believe, pickups. And it also has a coil tap switch that puts both pickups in single coil mode. Sweet sounding. Bought it 45 years ago. Wow, man. 45 years you've held on to that guitar. That's fantastic, dude. Sounds like a very, very nice guitar. I think that's the one I saw in one of your photos, if I'm not mistaken, that you sent me. Sweet looking guitar. You've enjoyed it for 45 years. And at least 45 more, I guess, right, Steven? Minimum. Ben is here this morning. Good morning. And Marcel says he's doing good. Great to hear it. Paul is here as well. All right. Let me just scroll all the way down, guys, because there's a lot of chats I got to catch up on here. So please don't be afraid to put a little question mark in front of your questions if they're directed to me, all right? So I know which ones are which. All right. So Modified Baseman, good morning. Grandpa Guitarist, what are your thoughts on putting flat wounds on a casino coupe? How will it sound different from regular nickel strings? It's funny you mentioned that, Grandpa. I like the name, by the way, Grandpa Guitarist. It's funny you mentioned, because I had a casino at one point as well, and it came with flat wound strings when I bought it. Flat wound strings are strange. They definitely have a different sound and feel to them. it's a little awkward. Um, I didn't like them for me. I just felt that they didn't feel normal to me because they are flat wound, and they just felt a little bit rubber bandy, if I could use that term. So I didn't really keep them on, but it was an interesting experience to try something different like that. I don't know that many guitarists that would prefer flat wound strings unless you're playing maybe jazz or something like that. I could be wrong. There might be others out here that prefer flat wounds, but not me. Doesn't do it for me. Hey Patrick, good to see you, buddy. How you doing? Ken says, "Is that a soprano shirt, Tony?" No, it's not. It's just a gabagool shirt. It's funny because some people that are not Italian don't understand what it means. It means a couple of things. Gabagool is slang for capicollo, which is basically Italian ham. So it stands for that, but it also has a little bit of a sexual connotation too, if you want to go there. Just to leave it at that. So take it for what it is. I'm using it as the ham because, I feel like a ham when I'm on the show because I'm getting all the attention. So, all right, so let's get into the chat and gear chat. First of all, Time Surf and Alien says, "What does flat wound mean?" Let's clarify that. Basically, what it means is when you buy strings, usually the strings have a metal core, and then there's another metal wire wrapped around the core. It's always, like your higher strings, the low E string usually has two wraps, right? And then what ends up happening is that the outer wrap is a round wire. With a flat wound string, they basically take that and flatten it out so that there's no bumps. If you look at it really closely, there's no bumps on the string. So that makes it feel very slinky. Like you don't feel the little bumps under your fingers when you're sliding up and down. And it gives the guitar a very different feel and sound. So that's what it means. Cool Tunes, I'm happy to report that I did get my Marshall back. I mentioned that last week. I don't know if maybe you were in there last week. It's behind me. Look at that. There it is in all its glory right there. Can you guys see? It's right behind me. I got to move out of the way. There we go. Marshall. Back where it belongs. Right on top of the Friedman. I was playing the Marshall just yesterday, guys. And it sounds great now. Sounds fantastic. I mentioned what the issue was last week. I don't know if you guys remember or not, but one of the input jacks had a little component on the board that goes behind it on the inside, and it was in the hole. Like the board usually has holes, and the components are in the holes, and then they get soldered to the board. Well, the component was in the board, but it had no solder on it. So it was moving. And if it would moved in a certain position, all the lows would go away. So I guess it was a manufacturer's defect, because I don't think that normally happens. So I got it back. Sounds fantastic. All the lows are back. Basically, the balls of the amp are back. And I was wondering why the amp would suddenly sound very harsh and tinny when I was playing it, And the guy who fixed it for me originally called me back, and he's like, "There's nothing wrong with the amp," which was very honest of him. Because I guess when I had transported it over to him, things had moved, and it sounded fine. When he tried it, it sounded fine. So he didn't want to charge me for nothing. But I was a little bit perplexed because I said, it's impossible. The thing doesn't sound right. I know that it doesn't sound right. So please check it again. And sure enough, he found the issue. So it taught me two things. Go with your gut, listen to your ears, find a technician that is honest. It won't just clip you. And then, take care of your gear. Cool Tune says, Tiny, where's the Bugera attenuator? First of all, how do you know my nickname, my wife's nickname for me? Just kidding. I hope that was a typo. You always use it with the Marshall ? No, I don't always use it. I use it from time to time because the Marshall is extremely loud. You can always play it on 5 watts, which make it better. But if you use the Marshall with pedals, you don't always need an attenuator. You can do without it. You can use the pedals as an attenuator. Just lower the volume on the pedal. Just get it, in a relatively clean sound first. Use your pedals for the drive. It still sounds fantastic. And you can basically save your ears. It's funny because now that I have this Apple Watch, the Apple Watch, for those of you who don't have one or don't know, has a sensor for high volume. And I constantly get the high volume warnings when I'm playing in here. I was playing the Princeton Reverb yesterday too, and still getting the high volume warnings, which is a good thing, I guess. Stephen, you're absolutely right. The intermittent issues are always a challenge. It was a head scratcher for me too. I usually look at the stuff myself because I was actually looking for that, because I know that if I would have found that issue, I could easily have fixed it myself. And I was almost 100% certain that was the issue, but I couldn't see it. I guess I didn't look well enough. And I guess that's where experience as a technician comes in. He found it, he fixed it, he deserves to be paid for it. By the way, I'm going to give a big shout out to Rick, because Rick is a great guy to go to if ever you have any issues with your amps. He's the guru, at least here in Montreal. His name is Rick Onslow. He's been around for forever. He's been working on Marshalls for probably longer than I've been playing guitar. He knows his stuff. He's a very honest and down-to-earth guy. And, he does an excellent job. So if you're in the Montreal area, put his name in your Rolodex if ever you need to have anybody look at your amps, especially Marshalls. Steven says, I'd be leaving that watch on the bedroom table before practice. Yeah, I should, but I mean, I like the watch. I like it because I don't feel it. It's so light. Dan says high volume according to Tim Cook. Rest is obvious. Hey man, whatever saves my ears, because honestly, I've been getting to the point now where my ears are starting to show the signs of tinnitus or tinnitus. I always don't like that pronunciation, but some people use it for whatever reason. It's getting to the point where, I have to be super careful. I don't want to end up with hearing loss. Believe it or not, my wife has hearing loss, and she doesn't play music, and she really has serious hearing issues. But she won't listen to me. She won't go to an audiologist and get checked out and take care of the issue. But yeah, it's not a fun thing to have. So getting to the topics of the day, one of the reasons I put out the poll question today is because I wanted to know who out there ever got scammed. The reason that came up is because I almost got scammed this weekend, and I'll tell you the story in a few minutes. A lot of things went down last couple of days, but basically, you got to be careful. There's a lot of things that can happen when you're looking at buying gear. So we'll look at the poll question, and I'll tell you my little story, and we'll talk about it. I'll give you some tips as well through experience. Yeah, it does suck, Dan. It sucks because it's a shame more and more people are just trying to take advantage. And it's funny because when you're dealing with people online, it becomes so much easier to do that. So I'll share some of the signs that you can, if you see these signs, you can pretty much tell it could be a scam. Doesn't mean it is a scam, but it could be a scam. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. So I'm not playing a guitar today. I don't have a guitar in my lap today just because my back is broken, folks. And I mentioned it last week. I was having back issues and I thought it would go away, and it's still there. It's actually worse. And so I'm just trying to, just grin and bear it. I'm hopped up on Advil, and depending on how I move, it could get pretty bad. So I didn't want to, hunch over the guitar today. I did play yesterday, but it's bad when it hurts when you sneeze. And that's where I'm at. So hopefully it'll get better in a little while. Maybe it's just, maybe the Advil will help the whatever issues it is go down if it's inflammation. I ordered one of those crazy massagers on Amazon, and I never thought I'd be doing that, but I found myself, at a lack for relief, I would say, and I figured, what the hell? I'm gonna try one of those gun massagers. You know what I'm talking about? It's weird that you have to resort to those things. I mean, you get to a certain age, guys, and all of a sudden everything starts breaking down on you. I didn't do anything crazy, but I did have some back issues already this week, and I went to lift a box, which was not very, very heavy to begin with, but that movement just made it worse. And of course, Murphy's Law. Just don't do anything when you have an issue. Just leave it be. And here I am, trying to rifle through some my tickle trunk of guitar parts to work on another guitar. So anyway, it'll teach me. Shane, I don't know if it's a herniated disc. Hopefully not. And to me, there's no such thing as a simple surgery. So we'll see. I'll let it be for a while, and we'll see. I'm not a big fan of chiropractors. I've been to one in the past, and he fixed my wallet pretty good. I think many people do feel relief, but I think it's just temporary. So anyway. Moving that Marshall didn't help. No, that was relatively easy. The Marshall wasn't heavy. Just have to be careful. Marcel, that doesn't sound like fun. 2 herniated discs and get cortisone injections every 4 months? Wow. Okay. I think I just have to smoke more pot or start smoking pot or whatever. I think that'll do the trick. Do you guys agree? Danielle says, buy an inversion table. You don't have to keep a steep inversion or for relief. Not terribly expensive. Danielle, believe it or not, I used to have one many, many years ago, and I just got tired of having to pick up the change on the floor. When I got, flipped upside down, everything would fall out of my pockets. Now, you know what I don't like about the inversion tables? the blood pressure thing. I don't like the feeling of the blood going to your head. You feel like you're gonna your head's gonna explode, you know. Especially, and then when you flip right side up, you feel like you're gonna faint. I don't know if it's just me, but they do help some people. You got to be careful with that. Shane says, remember, Tony, only older Canadians have an idea of what tickle trunk is. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Shane. I keep using that term, don't I? For those that don't know and are not Canadian and older like me, tickle trunk, there used to be a show on Canadian TV. And it was a show made for kids. It was called Mr. Dress Up. It's kind of like the equivalent, I would say, of Mr. Rogers, the Canadian version of Mr. Rogers, something like that. And basically there was the main character that was a human being, and he'd tell stories and draw and dress up and do little sketches and stuff like that. And then there was puppets. I remember there was a little puppet boy and his dog, Casey and Finnegan. Always loved that name, Finnegan. And they would be the sidekicks, you know, he'd be talking to them during the show and doing the drawings and stuff like that. Anyways, he had this thing called the tickle trunk, which was basically an old trunk, like an old trunk where you would put clothes in. And that's where he would put all of his, the attire that he would use for his sketches. So if he would get dressed and pretend he was an artist, he would have, you know, a beret and a smock and whatever, and he'd pull it out of the tickle trunk. And that would be the, you know, the show. So basically, when I say tickle trunk, that's what I mean. Alexander, I don't know what the name of it is. Theragun. It's probably a knockoff of that. There's so many different models of these things. It basically looks like a gun that you can put a tip on, and it basically pulsates, and you can massage your muscles or whatever. I don't know if it's going to be worth the money, but the good thing about buying something on Amazon is you can always return it if it doesn't seem to work, I guess. Cushman says weed is the way. Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to resort to self-medicating. Steven says, I blew out a disc on the 5th of May. The best thing I did was the inversion table. Maybe I'll have to get another one. Shane says, you're not smoking pot. What kind of a Canadian are you? Hey, we have the leaf right on our flag, right? You're absolutely right, Shane. What kind of a Canadian am I? All right. Gene says he rides his bike for relief. It works for circulation and warming up back muscles too. No more back problems. I think the key, guys, is very simple, is staying in shape and not sitting on your ass for 8 hours a day. And the latter is my big problem because I do a lot of sitting, unfortunately. I do enjoy bike riding too, but I haven't had the pleasure of doing that this year. All right, let's talk about gear, guys. Let's get our mind off of physical issues. Whereas we're going to have to rename this show like Addicted to Pain or something like that. And by the way, you know, you have to check with your doctors. Any advice we give on this channel is purely, you know, free advice. We're not doctors here. Let's get back to the gear chat, shall we? Randy says, Tony, have you seen these Bolt pickups? They're sort of like 3x3 single coil thing. A 3x3 single coil thing. I'm not sure I know what you're talking about. Bolt pickups. If you can send me a link or give me a better description, I'll take a look on, I'll just Google it. Take a quick look. I've seen so many different things. I'm not sure we're talking the same the same pickup. So give me a little bit more advice, just a better description, and I'll check it out. Alexander says, I never smoked pot once, and now it's legal. I'm in my 50s. I guess I listened to Nancy Reagan just say no way back when. You know what? I love Joe Rogan. I listen to his podcast almost every morning, and he's a big advocate of pot. And he says, you know, it's great for so many things, and, you know, shouldn't be illegal anywhere. And I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I haven't had the need till now. So I might have to talk to a few friends. I know a few people. I actually know somebody that owns an actual, what do you call those things? An actual weed growing company. So wouldn't be difficult to get some if I needed some. All right, Farid, how are you, buddy? Farid H, have you tried the Performax guitar cradle? Lifts the guitar a little and helps relieve back pain somewhat. I didn't. No, I don't have that, but I do have a really great strap for a guitar. It's just behind me. I just don't want to. I don't want to twist so much. But here, I'll show it to you. Hold on. Don't make fun of my Christmas mug. I know it's not Christmas. It's this this guy here. Here we go. Oh man, don't make me reach for stuff, guys. Oh, actually, it's not there. It's there. Oh man, it's over there. Anyways, I'm not going for it. But it's a CFG. It stands for cable-free guitar. They have these really cool, thick guitar straps that have really a nice layer of foam, and because they're so wide and they're the foam backed, and they have these little ridges, these little bumps, it's really a comfortable guitar strap. Let me see if I can actually pull up a picture of that. You know, at first I thought it was a gimmick. Because, you know, there's a lot of stuff that don't work. But I tried it. I did a review of it too, I think, on my channel at some point. You can get these on Amazon, by the way. They're not inexpensive, but I'll show you. Hold on, here we go. They're called the Zero Gravity Strap. And here, I'll show you what that looks like. Oops, is that gonna work? Let's see. There we go. Can you guys see that or not? Let me know if you can see it, okay? I hate showing you, thinking you're seeing something and you're not. But basically, this is what it is. It's about 50 bucks, 54 bucks Canadian. And it's really well made because it's thick. It's neoprene on the top, neoprene. And underneath, there's these bumps. I don't know if they have a close-up view of these bumps. You can get them on all kinds of really nice you know, graphic designs, or you can go straight with the black. And there's no close-up, unfortunately. But anyways, you can order one of these. They work really well. They do distribute the weight extremely well. So if you do have back issues, I recommend those. Alrighty, next question. Alexander says, yeah, knockoff of the Theragun. Bought one, used it once, and Amazon is making returns much harder these days. No, they're not. Alexander, I'll share a little trick with you, all right? If you try to return something on Amazon, and you're basically telling them you don't like it, they make it hard. If you say that there's an issue with it or it's not as described, then there's no problem. You can just print one of those return labels and send it back. Easy peasy. It's just on how you word it that makes the big difference. Cool Tune says, don't smoke the Wheaties, do the edibles. What's the difference? Why are the edibles better? I'm not a connoisseur, so I need advice here. Paul says, pedal of the week, the Demon Effects Z Drive. Part for part Hermedia Audio Zen Drive Robin Ford Dumble Special, $30. You know what? I think I did take a look at that at one point because I do have another Demon Effects pedal. I think I was searching their website and came across that one, but I didn't go for the Dumble because I don't really need that Dumble sound. But they do have some nice sounding pedals. Alexander asks, see the latest post from Henning Pauly? He's in a weird spot of transparency - honesty and earning an honest living. No, I haven't. I don't really follow Henning's channel. I used to back in the day, but to be honest, he kind of got on my nerves. And whatever. So I haven't been on his channel for a long time. So why do you say he's in a weird spot? What's going on with that? I always say buy another guitar is the solution. John, you have the right attitude, my friend. You know, when you're playing guitar, it does take your mind off everything else. It's amazing how the mind works. And it does release those natural endorphins that make you feel better. So I agree with you, man. Buy another guitar. I think I'm due. Wayne says we got the wrong leaf on our flag, Tony. They had to put the maple leaf, Wayne, you know. It's a political thing. But we all know what they really wanted to put on there, right? Alexander, do you know what gabagool is? I know what it is. So Cushman says he's negotiating on a 70s Fender Twin. Holy moly. Hey, Cushman, make sure you get those big industrial hearing protection devices there, those earmuffs, because a Twin is extremely loud, man. Where are you going to play that? Are you playing stadiums now? What's going on? Why are you looking at a Fender Twin? I mean, not to knock the Twin. They're fantastic sounding amps, but you're going to go deaf, dude. Joe Rogan is the bomb. He's so entertaining. Gene says I need to grow my own. I have my own basil plants and, you know, parsley and oregano. So I can just grow it like right beside those. Same thing. Hey, I'm into growing bonsai trees. Don't judge. So I guess if I can grow a bonsai, I can probably grow some weed. Coolton says, my acoustic guitar I have in my Florida home, Grade Acoustic Guild. I have a buzzing just on my G string. It's always that damn G string. I'm telling you, man. That's the devil string for sure, because it's always the G that causes problem. Want an easy fix. I relieved the neck all the way, still buzzing. Should I change the nut? Okay, this is a good question, and I'm going to spend some time on this one here, because eventually everybody's going to have this issue. So just the G string is odd. It leads me to believe that it's, you know, probably a nut issue. But one thing you can do before you start messing with the nut in any way, especially if you don't have to, is take the nut out of the equation. So fret your string, your G string, somewhere along the first, second, third fret. See if the buzzing goes away. Now, if the buzzing does go away, then it's a nut issue. The nut may be cut too deep on the G-string. It depends on where the buzzing is happening. If it's buzzing when it's open and it goes away when you're fretting it, then it's a nut issue and you have to look at the nut slots. It could be that the G-string is just cut too deep and is vibrating open and hitting the first fret. Okay, so before you do anything, start messing around with the relief on the neck and everything. You might end up just throwing everything out of whack. Don't touch anything. Do what I told you. Report back, and we'll take it from there. Shane says, I use 1.2 millimeter picks. I've tried to switch to thicker ones, but I found it harder to do pinch harmonics if the pick is too thick. Am I along with this problem? I think you mean alone. So not necessarily. It won't. I understand why the 1.2 millimeter pick make it easier, because it kind of is a little flip-floppy, like it bends. So when you're using something thin like this, you do have a little bend to it, you know? Whereas if you're using this, there's no bend. You can't bend this thing at all. It's, this is a 2.7, almost 3 millimeter pick. Pretty thick. It's not really in the bend though. The pinch harmonics happen when you hit the string and it touches the edge of your thumb. So it's just a question of how you hold the pick. You have to leave a little bit of gap so that you can hit the string, it'll vibrate and then stop immediately when it hits your thumb. So I think it's not really the pick thickness per se, it's really how you hold the pick. I mean, Billy Gibbons used to use one of those Mexican pesos, which is basically probably about that thick, grinded down as a pick, and he can get those pinch harmonics all day long. So it's really just, I think, angle of attack is more where you should be looking. Paul's giving some good advice here. Paul, I always appreciate your advice. I got an A+ for writing a paper on over-the-counter pain medicine. The best was acetaminophen with codeine. It gets 10 out of 10. All others get less than 4. Okay, I might have to take a trip down to the local pharmacy and see what I can get. Marcel's a connoisseur. He says it's against the law in Quebec to grow your own. You have to buy from the government outlets. I order mine from a British Columbia outlet. That's the thing about Quebec. Quebec sucks because everything that was good, the government gets their greedy paws into. Gambling is run by the government here. Liquor is controlled by the government and it's taxed like crazy. Weed, of course, they got into that as well. The only thing left really is prostitution. So when they legalize that, I'm sure they're going to be controlling that too. And they ruin everything. It was always better when the government wasn't involved. Randy, that tells me something. Due south. I do remember hearing that, but I never actually... It's a Mountie, right? He was a Mountie or something? I never watched that show. Cushman's ordering a strap. Awesome, dude. Check out my review on it. I did a review on it way back. Danielle says, I see Dunlop release a new care products last year, Pure Formula Series. There's a silicone cleaner. Seems to be low key release. No YouTube reviews found. Everybody's got some kind of a product. Dunlop seems to be the one that you can get everywhere. You can get that. Almost every guitar store has those Dunlop cleaners. and they do a decent job. I won't say they're my favorite. There is one company, and I can't remember the name. I got a sample guitar polish. This thing was the bomb. Oh man, if I wish I could remember what it was called now. I got to see if I still have the container somewhere. It's probably all dried up. But some dude sent it to me to try it, and it was fantastic. I don't really, I may have done a review on it. I don't even remember. It's been so far. But this thing was great because you would just put it on. It would quickly dry, and you polish it off, and it would be beautiful mirror shine. Wouldn't leave any residue that you had to like mess with. It was really good. You remind me, I should buy some more. Jeff says the best pedal of all time, guitar cable direct into a cranked Marshall. Amen to that, dude. I couldn't agree more. I think you're absolutely right. If you can manage to get a good sound out of that, that's the natural beauty of the harmonics coming through the amplifier the way it was meant to be. It's funny you say that. I was actually reading an article recently on, Rick Beato had a really interesting guest on his show just recently. And if you don't know Rick Beato's channel, he's probably like one of the biggest influencers when it comes to music channels on the internet right now. I don't think many people don't know who he is. But he had a guest recently who was a pretty well-known front of house mixing engineer. I don't know him personally. His name didn't say anything to me, but basically he worked with big name bands, Prince, Van Halen, Rolling Stones. And it's funny because Rick had asked him as part of the interview, who was the loudest player he'd ever mic'd up. And you know what his answer was? I bet you don't, unless you watched the episode. But he said it was Jeff Beck. And Jeff is usually known for being a very flamboyant player, and often I've seen him on stage and he has a couple of Marshalls behind him. Full stack Marshalls. And he says that Jeff was the loudest player he'd ever mic'd. And what Jeff would do is he would have at least 2 or 3 of these amps on stage, mic'd up, and then 1 or 2 of these would be turned so that they're not facing the audience. They're facing the back of the stage. And those were the loudest ones, apparently. And that's the sounds that he would get. And it's a little bit deceiving because when you hear Jeff Beck play, you don't feel like he's loud. But the way he works the volume, if you watch his right hand, Jeff is always either playing with the volume or volume and trem at the same time. So this is why his amps really need to be that loud, because of the way he basically rides the volume knob to get his tones. And yeah, it's a way to do it, man. And if you haven't already done that, it's kind of like, when you're playing with pedals, going through something like a Marshall or other style amplifier, it's almost like you have a blanket over your sound, because all of the pedals are basically coloring the sound and removing some of the dynamics that you're getting. And when you strip that all away and go direct, straight pipe from your guitar cable right into your amplifier, there's nowhere to hide. And if you guys don't know what I mean, play your guitar, play your riffs, your favorite riffs through your pedals. Add your overdrive or your distortion, add your delay and your reverb. Sounds huge, right? And even if you make a mistake, it's kind of easy to hide. But if you're playing your guitar straight in, there's nowhere to hide. And usually you end up sounding like shit. It's just all of a sudden you're like, oh man, I'm very sloppy. I need to practice more. There's not much, there's nowhere you can hide. That's what I'm trying to say. Just scrolling back on the comments, guys. I kind of caught up to you guys. I've been chit-chatting here a little bit too much. Eddie Jr. says, Tony, I ordered the Fretilizer fret polishing kit. I'll let you know how it works. Eddie, I got one. I have one too. I'll be doing a little review on that as well. I'll give you my thoughts. I just haven't had time to do it yet, that's all. Dewey7330, let's welcome Dewey, new subscriber here, loving the content. Thank you for joining. I always like to see new people here, Dewey. Don't be shy, jump into the chat. That's what we're here for on Sundays. So I'm going to talk about, so Cool Tune says from the 5th fret up, it's worse. Not so bad first 4 frets. Okay, interesting. So if it's happening on the 5th fret up, okay, could be the relief on your neck. How much space do you have if you take your finger and fret the 1st fret on your G string and fret all the way down towards the last fret or 14th fret, how much play do you have at around the 7th fret on that particular string? If it's not enough, then maybe your relief is out of whack and you might have to give it just a little bit more relief. But if you play around with your truss rod, don't go crazy, man. Just quarter turns, just loosen it a quarter turn, retune it, try again, see if it goes away. Also check Cool Tunes. You also want to check the saddle of that string, see how low it is. And it's one thing you got to remember also, and I'm sorry I'm throwing everything out at you kind of in a disjointed way, because there is a series of things you should do in a specific order. And what ends up happening, if you don't do that in a specific order, you're just chasing your tail. All right, but a couple of things you want to keep in mind, okay? Your neck is going to have a radius to it. Generally, if it has a radius, you want to have your saddles on your bridge following that radius. So if you do have a radius gauge, you can buy these things. They have different, radiuses on them. They're little metal gauges. You can figure out what kind of radius you have on your neck, whether it's a 10 or a 9 or whatever it is. And then you can use the same gauge and place it on your bridge saddles. And you kind of want to follow the radius that you have on your neck. So the middle strings, typically, your 2 middle strings would be a little bit higher than the others. So the low E and the high E would be lower, and then you would have that curve. I've seen a lot of guitars that are not set up that way, that the bridge is basically flat all the way across, and that sometimes causes buzzing issues as well. So there's a few things you could look at there. And it could be a high fret, but I'd be surprised if you're telling me that it's that it gets buzzing, let's say 5th fret downwards all the way across, that it would be a high fret. You can still probably have a high fret, but I wouldn't assume that they're all high like that. Paul says 90% of all records with classic early Marshall Plexi amps being used have tone bender fuzz being used with it. Try it. You will be amazed. Instant classic sound. Paul, I came extremely close. I was on a tone bender at one point, and I was determined to get one. And then I started looking at the prices, and they're extremely expensive. The originals are collectible, and huge pedals, by the way, huge. So I started looking at other pedals, other options, clones, whatnot. But I ended up making my own. I ended up building one. But it's not a tone bender per se, but it is a fuzz. It's kind of based on the David Gilmour sound. It's an extremely nice sounding pedal, by the way. Do you guys know Screddy pedals? Screddy is a company that makes really nice quality pedals. And I ended up, can you see this here? All right, so Screddy, let me just zoom in here a little bit more. For those that don't know, can you see that? Screddy makes great sounding pedals, and I at one point bought the Lunar Lander. It was the original one. They have different ones now. And it basically gives you that silicon fuzz. And it's based on the David Gilmour sound. So these are not cheap pedals, as you can see here. They're about $300. That's US, by the way. And you know, they build them one at a time, so you have to leave a deposit and whatnot. So great sounding pedal. I liked it a lot. And then what ended up happening was I built another one. I'll show you that one. From a kit. And I ended up selling the Lunar Lander. So this is the one I built. Actually, hold on. Let me actually get you to the right place here. Because you can buy just a PC board and build this thing. Or you can actually build it from a kit that has everything in it. I'm just trying to find the website. I don't know if maybe they're out of stock. Maybe they don't have them anymore. That would suck. Hold on a second. They might not have them anymore, which would be terrible. Okay, well here, I'm going to show you something. This is not what I was intending to show you, but you can see this here. So you can actually buy the kit, Dark Side of the Moon fuzz pedal kit here. It's $69. You could build it yourself and build yourself an awesome sounding fuzz pedal. I built one and I love it. I love it so much I ended up selling the Screddy. And the Screddy was like a really good sounding pedal. So I'm not blowing smoke here. The Screddy pedal, I think I have just here. One second, guys. Oh, let me see if I can get it. Don't make me stretch. Oh man, you guys, you're killing me. You're killing me. This is it. There's nothing on it. Oh, I'm rolling over my headphone wire. It's not good. All right. This is the Screddy that I built. The Screddy, well, not the Dark Side of the Moon. And don't you like the cool sparkle? It's a little dusty. I should be using this more. Don't you like the sparkles? Isn't that cool? I don't have a logo on it. I need to put something on it here. I'm not sure what I'm going to put. Got to put something on it. I believe that the pedals don't sound as good if they don't have a logo on it. That's just me. But trust me, guys, awesome sounding fuzz. If you're gonna make one or get one, try that one. I did also build myself a fuzz face at one point, which I didn't like as much. This one's great because it's got a way more control over the sound with the 4 knobs. The fuzz face only has 2. Hey, thanks Marcel. Thanks for asking people to give me the thumbs up. I appreciate that, guys. Please do. 51 of you guys watching, 31 thumbs up. We got a few lazy people in the house. Come on, guys. Give me a thumbs up if you don't mind. Speaking of pedals, 2 things I wanted to talk about. So I made myself a logo for the Ghost Drive pedal. This is the StewMac Ghost Drive. And I really didn't want to put that cheesy little Casper the Friendly Ghost sticker that they give you. I don't know why they do that, man. Doesn't look sexy. Anyways, I designed this, put it on there. Now we're talking chicken, you know. I think it looks way better. And awesome sounding pedal, by the way. Highly recommend the StewMac. This is basically a clone, and sounds fantastic. Yeah, I could put the Addicted to Gear sticker on it, just a little bit too big. Maybe what I can do is put it around the middle. I don't know. I would need a smaller version. All right. The other thing is I'm really digging this guy. Now, I'm not a big distortion fan. I prefer to go the overdrive route. But I tried this pedal recently. Joyo Uzi. I got to do a review of this. This is a distortion pedal. So versatile and not expensive. I think these things are what? I don't know how much these cost right now. Let me see. I'm pretty sure they're not expensive. They've been around, guys. It's not new. But I haven't tried it till recently. I think on Amazon they're 65 bucks. Great sounding pedal, man. And what I really love about it is, you know, you have the 2 main knobs on the top, which is volume and gain. But then you have the low, mid, high, and you have a really important one, bias. This basically allows you to fatten up the sound as much as or as little as you want. And basically you have a 3-band EQ, low, mid, and high. So with this put together, sounds great. One of, I'm going to say one of the best distortion pedals that I have right now. Like if we're talking full-blown distortion, which I don't use often, but sometimes you really want that. And this is the one, man. So get yourself one. They're cheap. Cheap and good. That's my motto. Paul says he uses a Moval Audio Galactive Groove Fuzz Drive, 35 bucks, free shipping to get that sound. Have all 3 knobs at about 10 o'clock. Do not push it hard. Yeah, that's the thing about fuzz pedals. If you push it hard, it sounds like your speakers are going to blow up, which I don't really like that sound. Dan says Gabagool would look good on the pedal. Yeah, maybe I should put that. Maybe I should put Gabagool on it. You guys kill me. Okay, one thing also, since we're talking about mods and all this, yesterday I was so bored. There was nothing good. And, you know, I scour YouTube. I see what everybody's talking about. See if there's anything interesting. There was nothing interesting. I don't know what's going on with YouTube, but it's like rehash of rehash of rehash. So what do? Excuse me. I decided I'm going to go and mod a guitar. When I get bored, that's what I do. So yesterday I recorded a video of some mods I did on that guitar right there. This guy, bing, the Kramer. It's hiding back there. But I did a couple of mods on it. Not 1, but 2. Recorded the whole thing, and I'll post it this week for you guys as part of my Messy Workbench series, which I do from time to time when I basically work on a guitar. It's not as slick or as Hollywood, but many of you have said that you like those series because you like to see somebody working on a guitar. So I basically did a couple of things to that guitar. I think I made it better. Now all I need to do is record a sound sample for you guys to hear what I've done. So as soon as I get that done, I'll put a video out this week. Hopefully I can do that today if my back cooperates. And I've been a busy little beaver because I've also upgraded the speaker in my Princeton. The Princeton Reverb build, the infamous or famous build. The speaker that comes in the kit that I put together was this. It's basically a Jensen special design speaker. This comes with it. It's a 10-inch. Not a bad sounding speaker for what it is, but I wanted something more. The Jensen gives you that classic sound, but I feel like if you like to push the amp, which I do, it doesn't hold together very well with higher volume or higher gain. It tends to kind of fall apart and become like flubby or farty. And some of you love these speakers, some of you don't. I decided to go with a different speaker, and I have experience with this type of speaker because I've used it before in different formats. Not a 10-inch, usually it would be a 12-inch. But I ended up getting the Alessandro, the G810 SC64. I don't know if you guys know what that is. Can I pull that up for you guys? It's a great sounding speaker, by the way. It's just a question of whether you like that particular type of sound. But I installed it. I'll just pull up a picture of it for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's see here. So this is the speaker in question. And I'll just zoom in a little bit so you can see it better. Made by Alessandro, G810 SC64, 20 watt amp, 20 watt speaker, I mean. Made by Eminence. You can see the curve here, the frequency curve. And you know, they describe it as tones of 1964. Still ring true in this vintage voice 10-inch speaker by amp guru George Alessandro. Very balanced with dynamic character. This ceramic 10-inch speaker offers tight, punchy tone with nice warms, richness, and sparkling highs. And I kind of agree. I think the speaker does a fantastic job. Amazing clarity, great upper highs, and you know, tight vintage tone. I think it's a winner. And it's still brand new. So, you know, it does need a little bit of time to break in. But I've been kicking it with a lot of pedals and pushing the amp. And the thing that I felt the Princeton didn't do well was getting pushed hard. It would kind of just fall apart. And now it doesn't do that anymore. Now it kind of hangs together and I can play pretty much anything through the Princeton. And it sounds really good. So I didn't sell this speaker yet. I'm just gonna break in the new one first, see whether or not, you know, I still like it once it's broken in, and eventually maybe I'll sell this one or put it in another cabinet and have it as a secondary speaker. I don't have a 1x10. I have a couple of 2 1x12s. Never 1x10. So I might just put one in as a secondary one. Randy says, never heard of it. Never heard of it? Really? Look it up, dude. Alessandro gets a very, very good, he's a very good reputation. A lot of people don't bother, just experimenting with speakers, but it makes a huge difference. He was very famous in making amplifiers originally. He made amplifiers. And then eventually, he designed his own speakers and whatnot. I don't know if he's still doing it though. Might be. I didn't look at his stuff recently, but you can Google him and you'll see for yourself. Paul says the Joya Uzi is a take on the Friedman BEOD. It could be, but I have the BEOD. I don't like it. And to my ears, not the same at all. The BEOD is around here someplace. I don't know where I put it right now. But I was hoping to like the BEOD because I have the Dirty Shirley amp. And I figured, what would be better than cranking a BEOD drive pedal into the Dirty Shirley to get even more gain. And I was extremely disappointed with that pedal. And I think I'm going to end up selling it. I don't even think I did a review on it. Now that I think about it. I don't know where I put it. Anyway, so for my money, this one all day long instead of the Friedman BEOD. Okay, so you guys want to talk about the scam? Sure, let's do that. Your wives are giving you what? Dan says, my wife is cracking the whip this morning. What do you mean? Sounds kinky. And Eddie says, my wife's cleaning and giving me the stink eye. Dude, remember what I said last week? I don't want to say it now if your wives are around. But watch last week's show. I gave you a little good comeback that you can use. Hey Joe, what's happening? Joe says, I'm late. Hello everyone. No such thing as late. We're all doing good, Joe. Thank you for joining in. All right, so we'll talk about the scam because that was the topic of today's show after all. And we'll look at the let's look at, you know what? Let's look at the poll question first and then I'll tell you my scam story, okay? It's a good one. I think you guys are going to like it. I'm curious to see who's gotten scammed, who hasn't. Okay, so the poll question. Have you ever been scammed when buying guitars or gear? And there's been 100 votes. And so let's start off with the highest number. And 45% of you said, no, I've never experienced a scam when buying guitars or gear. Great. And I'm not really surprised by that number because I don't think scams are that common, but they do happen. So 20% of you said, yes, unfortunately, I have been scammed before. And I think 20% sounds about right. 18% of you said, I've had some close calls, but managed to avoid being scammed. So I guess some of you are using your intuition, going with your gut feeling, which is fantastic to hear. 13% of you said, I only buy from reputable stores to avoid scammers, which is, I guess, as a whole, an accurate thing to say. I don't think most people get scammed when buying through a reputable store. Although more and more of us now are buying from stores online, including things like, eBay sellers and whatnot. And even though they're pretty popular and some people consider them stores, they're not stores. So you do have to be careful. And I'll tell you another story about that in a second here. And then 4% said, I'm the one usually doing the scamming. So at least 4% of you are honest and admit to actually scamming people. You shouldn't do that, guys. You really shouldn't. So, of course, there's a couple of comments, and Shane says, my advice, don't buy anything or order anything from Russia. Now, I don't know why Shane is saying Russia in particular, but I would probably throw in China in that statement as well. Somebody else says, yes, I've had and by a well-known retailer, so I had gotten scammed. They sent me a used, damaged guitar that was advertised as new with 10 plus in stock. It wasn't even in the correct brand's box. Thankfully, PayPal became involved as the store refused to refund me. Excuse me. Never rely on major retailers to be honest. So there you go. So some of you, even though you say, you only buy through reputable stores, can still experience some issues down the road. So be careful, whatever you do. And someone here says, I got scammed by a Russian seller. No guitar showed up, but an envelope with blank pieces of paper showed up. Imagine that. That is crazy, dude. These stories, it's like watching a car wreck. I don't want to read the stories, but I can't help myself. Somebody else says, I bought a Marshall JCM 800 combo. Went to pick it up. Guy's face dropped when he saw I had my guitar with me. Amp was off and on whisper quiet. I took it anyway for $150. A third of what he asked for. My local shop reflowed the solder on the pots. It was good as new. Cost me 10 euros or 10 pounds, whatever that is. And then he says, second time I bought a Gordon Smith, met the guy halfway, took my Spark Mini amp to try it. Push-pull pot was faulty. Nice try, fella. $100 less, or I'm heading home and you're getting a bad review. Got the $100 off. DIY fix. So you see, sometimes even these sad stories have a happy ending, because if you do your due diligence and pick up gear in person, a negative can become a positive. If there's something wrong and you think you can deal with it or fix it, you can easily drop the price quite a bit. If the guy's there, sees you, you show up with money in your hand, most of the time, the guy's gonna know, like, hey, look, I'm gonna have a hard time selling this. The guy's still interested. Give him a discount, rid myself of the product in question and be done with it. So you can walk home a happy camper, as long as you can fix it. If you can't fix it, then of course there's issues, right? So, all right, here's my story. Are you guys ready? So this weekend, again, I mentioned I was bored. So what am I doing? I'm scrolling, just looking, not intending to buy anything really, but I came across this. I'll actually show you a picture of it. Give me a sec. I'll pull it up. Here we go. I came across this guy. Okay, here we go. Boom. Can you see that? All right. So let me explain what we're looking at here, guys. This is a Gibson ES345. Okay. Now, I already have a 335. I have a really beautiful Eastman semi-hollow guitar. I didn't need another guitar, but I do have a want for a 345. So I came across this guy's posting, okay, And he says Gibson ES345 gloss, like cherry, like new. Okay, so the first thing which I found a little odd was that the description was written in English. Sorry, the title was written in English, like new, but the description was entirely in French. Now in Quebec is a primarily French province, so a lot of people speak French. A lot of people are bilingual, but oftentimes when I see posts, they're either going to be all in English or all in French. So I found that a little bit odd, but it happens, right? Could be. So I said, no problem. So I ended up texting the guy. All right. So text the guy, and I'll even explain how the text went down. Okay. And by the way, the guitar is still listed. So I sent a message saying, hey, is this guitar still available? You know, standard thing to see whether or not it was sold, because the price was good. Oh, and that's the second thing. You know, when you see a guitar like that listed in mint condition, and it's the guy's asking well less, quite a bit less than what it's worth. You know, like this guitar brand new doesn't sell for $2,500. And he also mentioned that he also has all of the paperwork. Okay, so a lot of people don't mention the fact that they have the paperwork. A lot of times when people are going beyond and giving you extra information for no reason, even if you don't ask for it, it's almost like they're trying to hide something. Okay, so if we look at a ES345 today, how much does that cost? Let's see. If we want to buy one, let's say we go to Long and McQuaid, excuse me, and we want to buy one today. I want to go to the store and pick one up right now. How much is it going to cost me? All right, boom. So Long and McQuaid is selling the guitar, very same guitar, for $5,999. Sorry, $5,099 US. Sorry, Canadian, plus taxes. Okay, so you're looking at a guitar that's close to $6,000. And this guy's asking $2,500 for a guitar that's practically new. So right there, you know, I figured too good to be true. And often when your gut says it's too good to be true, usually it is. Okay, especially since it's brand new. So then you have to ask yourself, okay, why is he selling it for so cheap? Is it maybe there's some damage, headstock has been broken and repaired? You know, there's got to be a reason behind it. But he says it's brand new. So, okay, fine. I'll bite. So I ended up sending him a series of emails. And to me, the other thing that didn't sit right was that if a guitar is in good condition, comes with the papers, selling for less than half of what the going rate is, right? There's nothing wrong with it, and it's still available. Like a guitar like that would sell in like that fast at that price. So there was quite a, you know, my spider senses were tingling, let's just say. And, but I said, let me see, you know, maybe I'm getting lucky here. So I ended up saying, hey, is this guitar available? I'm interested. And is there a number I can reach you at? Because he didn't list a number. And he specifically says in the email, in the posting, to email him, okay, for more information, which I found a little odd. So he answers me, and this is in French, but I'll just paraphrase. He says, the guitar is always available, still available. What are your availabilities? So we can plan to meet up and to test it, and you can pick it up. So far, so good. So I asked him, where are you located? He says he's located in this area of town called the Plateau Montreal. Okay, fine, no problem. I said, when are you available? And all this time, I'm texting him in English, and he's answering me in French. Okay, English, French, English, French. Sometimes it happens, but generally, you know, somebody might say, hey, can you talk to me in French or whatever? Fine, whatever. So he tells me he's available. He's available. He says he's available today, Sunday, after lunch. I'm like, perfect, good. I'm available after lunch. Then he says next week he won't be, he'll be available in the evenings only after 6. He says, let me know when you want to arrange to meet up. So I said, I'd like to see the guitar on Sunday, today. So he says to me, okay, perfect. He says, thank you for your response. And again, his answers always seem pretty canned. So he says, thank you for your response. He says, Sunday after 1 o'clock is perfect for me. He's like, because there's been so much demand for this guitar that he's receiving at the moment, right? He's like, he proposes that you can reserve the guitar by sending him an Interact transfer as a deposit. And then basically to save the price, okay? Then he says, thank you for letting me know when the transfer is done, and you can do this on my email address to confirm the rendezvous. Right there, bells are ringing, red flag, red flag, red flag. So basically at that point, I knew it was a scam. So I basically answered him back, I smell a scam, thanks anyways, left it at that. Okay, the listing is still there. The guitar still hasn't been sold. And to me, again, that basically confirms that I'm right, because honestly, a good deal like that on that type of a guitar would have sold in a heartbeat, like the same day it would have been sold, and it's still there. I can actually look it up right now on my phone, and I guarantee you it's still there. Let me just do that. And again, I don't know. I mean, I looked at the person's information like I always do. I checked to see, how long they've been a member, what they've posted in the past, any kind of feedback, any kind of information, and there was very little. So for me, that is always a red flag. So let me just see if it's still there, just for giggles. There it is, still there, right there. All of the pictures, you can see picture 1, picture 2, picture 3, picture 4, picture 5. I mean, there's quite a few pictures. So what do? I just, avoid the guy. Obviously, I don't try and bother him with this. But if he's trying to scam something out of somebody, that's nasty. Now, what I can do, and I didn't try doing this, but I should. Let me try this. What you can do nowadays, right, is you can save a picture on your phone and you can Google it and basically see what comes up. Now, if I Google this picture, I'm going to grab one of his pictures and I'm going to Google it, and I'm going to see whether or not he grabbed this from somewhere else on the internet, which I wouldn't be surprised. So let me try. Give me a second here. It's a shame that I have to do this, but man, it just makes me so mad that people will go to the trouble of scamming people like this. All right, let me just do. Come on, Google, work with me. Okay, here we go. Boom. So I'm going to grab my picture, which is right here. Bam. And see where else this picture comes up. It could be on Reverb. It could be somewhere else. Let's just see if anything does come up. So I see a lot of other guitars. I don't see that particular picture. I don't see it, but it doesn't mean it's not there somewhere. All right. So that's my story. Dave likes my shirt. Glad you like it, Dave. You know what it means. He's Italian. He knows what it means. All right. So what can you do to avoid these things? Stephen, many times, I say no need for a deposit. They're just going to come up with a cockamamie reason why they want a deposit. There's like too many people. I don't have time to waste. If you want to, you want to save the price or whatever, this is what it is. And a lot of people will actually do it because they feel like I'm getting a really good deal here. I don't want to miss out. But in my experience, when all of these things happen at the same time, price is too good to be true, it's still listed even days later, all these kind of things don't make sense. And especially when somebody says, I need a deposit. Why do you need a deposit? If I'm coming to your house with cash money in my hands and I'm ready to buy it, what difference is a deposit going to do? So anyway, I let it go and chalked one up to experience. But I wanted to show it to you guys because this is happening all the time. So what you can do, you can research the seller, try and get as much information on the seller as you can. Check the reputation of the seller. You can do this, through feedback. This guy didn't have any feedback. He didn't have anything posted on his, if you're going to be looking at the guy's Facebook profile, for example, if I go into this guy's Facebook profile, I'm not going to mention his name, but it says he joined Facebook in 2022, a few years back. Fine. He has a couple of other things that he's selling. This is the thing that also tipped me off. Okay. He's got one photo. He's got 0 posts, and he's got no workplaces to show, nothing under education, nothing under, where he's lived, nothing, basically. He's a ghost. He only has 3 active listings. One of them is that one. So another red flag right there. Okay. Then, so check, status, check feedback. If the guy doesn't have anything, if he's not using a real name, even the picture that he's using, he's got a picture over there with, looks like him and his girlfriend. If I take that picture, let me just see something here. I'm not going to let it go, guys, because it really makes me mad. But I'm going to do the same thing I did with the Google search. With his picture. I want to see what comes up. Give me just bear with me, guys. There we go. There we go. Let's see. Just trying to see how I can use this technology. I did find somebody that looks an awful like this guy. Awful like this guy on Pinterest. Anyways, that's for sure 100% a fake image. Okay. Anyway, so check the reviews. Make sure that the people are honest. Verify the information in terms of who the person is that you're contacting. If the person also is not willing to meet you at their place, which is often the case, some people just don't want to have people come over to their house. That is it kind of makes sense. But, if they're really going out of their way to meet you in a parking lot somewhere or whatever, Be on guard, because honestly, a scammer is not going to meet you at their house. So if you're meeting somebody at their house, chances are the guy is going to be honest, because nobody wants headaches. Nobody wants somebody coming back to their place and saying, hey, you scammed me. This thing's broken. It's not working the way it should. There's an issue. Nobody's going to do that. But when somebody's, meeting you in a parking lot somewhere, it's one of those deals where you're buying the guitar out of the trunk of the car. You got to be careful with that. If you're going to be paying somebody, if you're paying somebody cash, kiss that money goodbye. Once they're gone, they're gone. You're never going to get that money back. Okay. If you're using a payment method like PayPal or something like that, you can have, you can get chargebacks to happen. You can protect yourself even if you pay with credit card. So, for example, this guy's asking for a direct transfer. Don't do that. A direct transfer is like cash. Once it's gone, it's gone. You have no recourse. If I could have answered the guy saying, hey, no problem, I'll send you a deposit, but I'm going to do it through PayPal. Guaranteed 100%. He would say, no, it's got to be direct transfer. Transfer and no, not PayPal. He's going to probably use some excuse like, I don't want to pay fees or something like that. It's happened before. All right. So be careful with that. Inspect the photos carefully. Scrutinize the photos. Make sure that there's nothing that they're hiding. I've seen very creative photographs being taken of guitars where you look at the guitar, it's taken at an angle where you don't see the defect. Then you ask the guy, hey, please send me a photo of the back of the guitar. Bingo. Lo and behold, there's just chips, there's buckle rash, there's all kinds of issues. So be very careful. Don't be shy to ask for additional pictures. Ask straight out, is there anything wrong with the guitar? Any issues? If they say no and you show up and there are, well, then you got negotiating power. Detailed questions are also good, always good. History, condition, where did you buy it? Are you the first owner? Are there any modifications being made? Is there anything included in terms of accessories, cases, this kind of thing? Always ask as many questions. If the deal is unrealistic, like in this case, it was too good to be true. If there's something that should be extremely more expensive and isn't, red flag. Absolutely. Low prices, red flag. Somebody that's asking you to send money to someone else, red flag. All these kind of things. Check out the market prices, making sure you're not being scammed. Sometimes, people will put the guitar at a higher price than you can get a brand new. Maybe not a guitar, but, pedals or other things. Make sure you're not just getting scammed right off the get-go. See if there's any return policies. If you're buying from an online seller, if it's a eBay store or something like that, understand what the return policy is. Sometimes they'll say, yeah, we'll take it back. You have 10 days. But in the squinty print, they're going to say they're going to charge you a restocking fee, 14%, 15%, 20%. A lot of times the restocking fee with the cost of sending it back at your own expense is basically the cost of the item that you're buying. And last and not least, I'm going to say the most important one, go with your instincts. Many times your gut is going to tell you what's going on. And if you're, not feeling right about it, there's something wrong. And in this particular case, something wrong. Mayday. Houston, we got a problem. So I'm going to be curious I'm going to keep on watching I'm going to keep on watching this thing just to see how long it's going to stay there. All right. So, and one last story, and I don't want to bore you guys, but one last story. I did actually purchase a guitar neck from a well-known eBay seller called the Stratosphere. The Stratosphere, for those who don't know, they basically sell Strat parts. They take guitars, basically, they part them out, They take them apart and they sell them piece by piece. Now, why do they do that? Because they can make more money selling the guitar by selling the individual pieces than they can get by selling the entire guitar. So they do that. Basically, I ordered a guitar neck from them, and you know they've sold so many necks, so many guitar bodies and stuff. They have a lot of sellers, not a lot of sellers, a lot of items that they've sold. Okay, and so I figured no problem. You know, I'm gonna order something from them. Descriptions seem good, everything seems cool. I ordered it and did not receive what I ordered. I'm just going to see if I could find them on eBay. They have an eBay store and everything. Okay, so here, I'll show you. Here we go. Boom. The Stratosphere. For those of you that don't know. Okay, so they're an eBay seller. They sell everything. You can get bridges, you can get guitar bodies, like you can buy a Gibson Les Paul 60s body with nothing in it, you know, and their prices are kind of like, they're not cheap, you know, they're just a little less, but not really. It's really a good deal. I mean, with shipping and handling and everything, probably not. But if you're looking for a specific neck, like if you want to buy Fender American Professional 2 neck, this is how much you're going to pay, $685. They're not cheap, $700, $400, you know, depending on what you're looking at buying. So sometimes they sell these. They have these licensed Mighty Might ebony necks and whatnot. So I was looking for something along these lines, like this, okay? Like this type of guitar neck. And so I ordered this, well, not this one specifically, which is 127 bucks. It's not bad, right? I ordered this and it had a specific, you know, I was looking for a specific type of neck without the truss rod adjustment at the headstock on the other side and whatever. I didn't get that. I got something completely different. And you're paying 127 bucks, which is $174 Canadian. You're paying another $66 for shipping. And this is American money. And it is, you know, you're probably going to have to pay duties as well. So it's not cheap. Anyways, I was very disappointed because I didn't get what I ordered. And I figured no problem, I would send it back, contact them, send it back to them, and they'd be able to send me the right thing. They couldn't. Apparently, the other one was sold or something like that. So basically, what ended up happening was I complained, and I ended up, you know, contacting them and saying, hey, you know, I want my money back. I'm going to send you back the neck. And they're like, well, we can't give you your money back, but we can give you a partial refund, which was peanuts. I'm like, but I don't want a partial refund because I have no use for this neck. You know, I have a specific project in mind, and I don't need it. I need the right one, right? They wouldn't do it. They're like, we're sorry. All we can do is offer you a partial refund, blah, blah, blah. So I felt extremely betrayed. And why did they sell the other item that I was supposed to get, you know, if it was a mistake? So I felt I got scammed, and I haven't purchased anything from them ever since. And I tell the story for anybody that wants to know because, you know, you got to be careful. And if you're a good seller, an honest person, I'll promote you as much as I can. But if you're dishonest, I'm going to mention that as well. So there you go. That's my little story. All right. So Steven says, where is this shipping from? I see the same looking listing here in the United States in Utah, $2,999 here with a $90 shipping. It's shipping from Montreal. It's supposed to be local. It's not supposed to be shipping from anywhere. Shenanigans will happen all the time. Absolutely. If you have a story, I'd like to hear it. Gene says, does buying a chipsin make me a scam enabler? Good question. Look, I've purchased chipsins before myself. If you don't have the intentions of selling them, I would say that, you're not as guilty. But, let's be honest, okay? Somebody's making counterfeits and there's a market out there. And, by buying chipsins, we are encouraging them to continue making these counterfeits. Where do these counterfeits eventually end up? Somebody tries to sell them. Not everybody will be honest, because basically some people will say outright that it's a chipsin, which will make it hard to sell. Others will try and bamboozle you and won't say anything. And then you're kind of getting scammed. So, it's not legit. I don't think we can say we're perfectly clean. I think we are enabling bad things to happen by buying chipsins. So that's just my opinion. All right. But you can buy them all day long if you wish. Somebody's going to buy them. If I don't buy them, somebody else will. But it doesn't make it a good thing, I think. Keep that in your mind, Marcel wants to know, Tony, can you give the link to the post for the 345? Can I give the link? I don't know. Let me see. I would have to log in. Give me a sec. I hate when Facebook has to you got to go through hoops to log into your account from one device to another here. Okay, here, let me see if I can find it. Give me a sec. I'll try and do this. All right. I'll share it. Let me just grab it. Is that the right one? Let me see here. It's a Facebook link, guys. So here, let me. Why is it not making me do it? I gotta log into my account, and that's the issue, because I can do it clearly on my phone, but logging into my account here for whatever reason. I don't know if it's going to work, but here. All right, so any other question, guys, before we get going today? I think we've spent more than an hour, almost 2 hours today, so it was kind of like a special event, I would say, because I usually don't spend that much time, but because my back is broken, I figured, why not spend a little extra time, share the love a little bit more. If there's no other question, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up for today. What do you think? Any other questions? Otherwise, we're going to call it a day. You guys can go have some fun, and we'll be able to recap next time when we get together on Sunday next time. And hopefully my back will feel better. I won't be hyped up on Advils like I am now, and everything will be better overall. The poll question, Jean-Pierre, we already talked about the poll question today. I think you might have missed it. I will take care of my back. Thank you for you guys, for the courtesy of caring about my my overall health. I'll think about the inversion table. I'll mention next week how the little what do you call that, vibrating gun or whatever you want to call it, the massage gun works. I'll let you know if I still kept it. And there'll be more videos I'll be posting, so I'll probably get cracking on another one right after this for you guys, and so that you guys can enjoy some other content. Hopefully that won't be boring. So I think that's it for today, guys. Oh, the trivia. Jean-Pierre wants trivia, not a poll question. Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I don't know. Let's see. I'll give you a quick trivia question. How's that? I don't know if it's going to be a good one, but I'll give you an option here, okay? Okay, here's a good one. It's a Led Zeppelin one. We'll make it quick, short and sweet. There's a line from a Led Zeppelin song or excerpt from the Belle Biv DeVoe's 1990 hit Do Me. And there's a line in there that they took from that song. So is it A, squeeze me baby till the juice runs down my leg? B, backstage underage adolescent? C, your custard pie, I declare it's sweet and nice? Or D, you say your body's aching, I know that it's aching? And E, take off your clothes and leave on your shoes. Okay, so which line did they take? For me, A sounds like it could be one. I'm thinking A. Which one do you guys think it is? Am I even reading the question right? So line from Led Zeppelin's song or excerpt from the Belle Biv DeVoe's 1990 hit Do Me. All right, so they took a song, if I'm reading this correctly, they took a line from Led Zeppelin. So the answer is A, Led Zeppelin from the Lemon song. And I kind of imagine that's the one it was, because squeeze me baby till the juice runs down my leg is a very famous Led Zeppelin line, those dirty guys. And if you're a Led Zeppelin fan, you probably already know that. And Jean-Pierre did know that. He said A. That's the one. So there you go. All right, guys. That's it. I need to go get my back rested a little bit. I'll be back next week, hopefully in better shape. Please leave your comments below if there's anything you wanted to know or ask that I didn't get to during today's chat, and I'll answer the question after we're done. Okay? That's it for now, guys. Have a great week. Be careful. Don't get scammed out there. Get out there and stay safe. We'll see each other next week. Take it easy, guys. Be good. Gabigol, checking out. See you next week.